Yep, good evening. So last session we learned about how we can handle forms in React. So we discussed about how we can reduce the effort in designing and handling forms when compared to traditional React forms. By using a third party, we can simplify that. Now today we will see how we can handle validations in a form using third party, how we can manage that. Yesterday we learned how to design form, right? So we designed form using a library called Formic. By using Formic, we designed a form. It was very simple in design, ready-made. It have some functions for handling the events. It was easy, right? So to work with it. Yesterday, I explained this example, how to handle it. Now, if we have to handle validations in a form, then how do we manage? We will see now. That means now we will see how we can handle the validations. So Formic validations. How Formic can handle validations. Without Formic also validations we saw. And we saw that validations require a lot of event and data binding. Actually, let me give a clarity here, right? So what is validation? Validation is the process of verifying user input. Validation is the process of verifying user input. That means when user inputs any value, we have to verify whether the value is according to the requirement or not. That is actually validation. So why you need validation? Validation is required to ensure that contradictory and unauthorized data is not get stored into the database. That is the main aim actually. That means why you need validation. Validation is required to make sure that contradictory means you are expecting number, they are sending string. That means the data is not the same what type we are expecting. That is contradictory. Unauthorized means I said only 6, they are sending 10. That means it's not authorized for 10. So we have to verify that and we have to validate. Actually, without means React can handle validations without help of third party by using JavaScript functions. By using JavaScript functions, it can handle, but it is a lengthy process. By using JavaScript functions, React can handle validations without help of any third party. Can you tell me so how JavaScript can verify whether input value is a number or not? How JavaScript can verify that input value is a number or not? In JavaScript, if anybody entered a string instead of a number, how to check is it a number or not? No idea. JavaScript provides a method called isNaN. IsNaN is a JavaScript function which will verify that the value is not a number and it will return true or false. Right? You have to be very strong in all the JavaScript to handle all these validation. How do you verify? Suppose email. How do you verify email is having @ or not? How you verify whether a string is having particular character or not? For that, we have to use a function index of. Right? Index of will return -1 if the character is not there in a string. Right? That means just only outline I am telling, like this lot of functions. How do you know what is the type of value stored in a variable? Is it a number stored? Is a string stored? You have a JavaScript operator called typeof. You have to use all of these. And by using this, React can handle the validation. React can handle the validation. So you need to depend on a lot of such JavaScript functions. String functions, array functions, number functions, parsing techniques for handling validation. So Formic have several abilities actually. Level by level, I will tell you. Actually, Formic also, third party also, directly will not handle everything. There are so many techniques I will show you. Actually, what Formic can do is, and one more point is React have to use various events to verify the value. To verify the value, it have to depend on a lot of events also, which already we learned. We saw that we have used on blur, am I right? To verify after they finish typing, you want to verify on blur. While typing, then we use on key up. Right? On when they selected, then we use on focus like this. And when they are doing some change, we say on change. For drop down, I told you, na? Change. All these are required for managing the validation. But Formic have little simplified. But still not satisfying. Then a developer have more plugins to add. Right? Formic have a little better solution, but not satisfying. I will show you. So that means here, Formic can use validation can use validation from validation function that derives, that returns errors object. Formic can use validation from validation function. It can use validation from validation function, right? From validation function that returns errors object. That returns an errors object. That means here again the same concept. That means you have to use JavaScript methods. You have to use JavaScript methods for verifying the value. You have to use JavaScript methods for verifying the value. So again, same, but little bit better when compared to previous. In previous example, what we done when we done validation. So if you remembered, you see in previous example, I think that is the validation. Yeah. So in previous example, when we written validation here, what happened is for validation, we have to write on key up verify password, on blur hide password. We have to write a lot of events. We have to write a lot of events also. But this we can little bit simplify now, right? Let's see. We will see all techniques. That means how we can maximum handle the simplification features. Now see here, let's create a simple form first. So I will add a new component. So formic validation. Formic validation.html. Okay. I will, sorry, not HTML. It is JS. Okay. .js file. Now here I am creating, so import use formic, right? Use formic from formic. We have to import formic, then export default function, and formic validation is a function. Okay. It should return simple container and class name container fluid. And here I give the heading as some register user. Okay, now here I will keep this in startup first. Formic validation component. Okay. So let's see, it's working fine. Okay. Now let's go here. What are the various phases here? Validation, right? That means what are the various phases of validation and how do we handle the validation? Yep. So here we are dealing with the JavaScript methods. Then actually how to handle, I will tell you. What are the steps here? First step, step one is you have to create a function for accepting form values. You have to create a function for accepting form values and verifying the values, and reporting errors. 1 second. Zoom have some issues. Many people unable to log in. All the complete Zoom server is down. So we will take a short session today so that others will not miss out. Right? I'll take a short session. Tomorrow we'll continue. Right? Just one point we will discuss. Right. So here you see, we have to first create a function, accept the values from form, verifying the values and report the errors. How it can happen? So we will write a function. So suppose validate form. Okay. How this will have to, what this have to do? as I told you, it should accept data from form. That means it have to accept the values. That means it have to accept the values from the form. After accepting the values, it will have an errors object, right? What it will do is it will verify these values. That means we will say if values dot some name, okay? That means that is form values. Some name is equal to empty. Then it should display some error message. That means what we do, errors dot name, errors dot name. So in this is an object now. This is having name, and what should be the name? What message you want to display? We say some required like this. That means I'm just writing here one condition. Similarly, I have to define if values dot email, right, is empty. So is equal to empty. Then errors we have to define. Yeah, we have to define errors dot email. Email is equal to required. Like this, we need to define. After that, like that, all validations you mentioned. After that, that means whatever the errors are captured here, right? Whatever the errors are captured here, these errors are stored here. That means what it should do, it should return errors. It should return errors. Okay, it should return those errors and display. Right. So for online people, we will stop the session here, right? And we will continue in tomorrow's session. Okay.